What would you do if someone you buried 7 years ago suddenly appeared at your doorstep claiming to be alive? If you're enjoying this story, please like, share, and subscribe to Viral Tales. We love hearing from you, so tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Catherine Williams stood in her beautiful ballroom, wearing a dress that cost more money than most people earned in a year. The room sparkled with golden lights hanging from the ceiling. Rich people in fancy clothes walked around holding glasses of expensive drinks. They were all there for Catherine's charity event, the biggest one of the year. Catherine smiled at her guests, but inside her heart felt heavy. It had been 7 years since the accident. 7 years since she lost the most precious thing in her world. Her daughter, Lily. Sweet little Lily with the bright brown eyes and a laugh that sounded like bells ringing. The police had found Lily's shoes by the river. They found her jacket too, but they never found Lily's body. After months of searching, they had a funeral with an empty coffin. Catherine remembered standing in the rain, watching them lower that empty box into the ground. Her husband, Richard, had held her hand. But it didn't help. Nothing helped. The pain was like a knife that never stopped cutting. Now, Catherine spent all her time giving money to help homeless children. If she couldn't save her own daughter, maybe she could save someone else's child. That's why tonight was so important. She was going to raise thousands of dollars for kids living on the streets. The party was going well. People were donating money and eating tiny sandwiches when suddenly the main doors burst open. A security guard stumbled backward. Behind him stood a girl. She looked about 14 years old, the same age Lily would be now if she had lived. But this girl was dirty. Her clothes were torn and covered in mud. Her hair was messy and tangled. Her feet were bare and bleeding. Everyone in the room stopped talking. They all stared at the girl. The girl's eyes searched the crowd. Then she saw Catherine. Her whole face changed. Tears started running down her cheeks. "Mom," the girl whispered. Then louder, "Mom." Catherine's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the marble floor. Red wine spread across the white tiles like blood. The girl ran forward. 2 security guards tried to grab her, but she was fast. She dodged around them, pushing through the crowd of rich people who jumped back like she was dangerous. "Mom, it's me," the girl shouted. "I am alive." Catherine couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. The girl stopped right in front of her. "Mom, it's me, Lily. I am alive." The room spun around Catherine. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. Lily was dead. They had a funeral. Catherine had cried for 7 years. "Get her out of here." Richard's voice cut through the silence. Catherine's husband appeared beside her. His face was red with anger. "Security, remove this girl immediately." "No, wait," Catherine heard herself say. Her voice sounded strange and far away. "Catherine, this is clearly some con artist who heard about Lily and wants your money," Richard said. He grabbed Catherine's arm. "Don't let her manipulate you." The security guards moved toward the girl. "Please," the girl begged. She was looking right at Catherine. "I know you don't believe me. I know this seems impossible. But I can prove it. I can prove I'm your daughter." "You have 10 seconds to leave before we call the police," Richard said. "The birthmark," the girl said quickly. "I have a birthmark. On my left shoulder. Shaped like a tiny star. You used to kiss it every night before bed. You used to say I was your lucky star." Catherine's legs almost gave out. The birthmark. Nobody knew about that birthmark. It was so small that even the doctors barely noticed it. Catherine had never told anyone except Richard. It was her special secret with Lily. "How do you know about that?" Catherine whispered. "Because I'm your daughter," the girl said. Tears kept streaming down her face. "Please, Mum. Please believe me." Richard's grip on Catherine's arm tightened. "Lots of people have birthmarks. This proves nothing." But Catherine pulled her arm free. She stepped closer to the girl. The guests were all watching, whispering to each other. Someone's phone was probably recording everything. "Show me," Catherine said. The girl's hand shook as she pulled down the left side of her dirty shirt. There on her shoulder was a small mark, star-shaped, exactly like Lily's birthmark. Catherine's world tilted. The room went quiet except for the sound of her heart pounding in her ears. "This is ridiculous," Richard said. "Catherine, think clearly. Our daughter died 7 years ago." But Catherine wasn't listening to Richard anymore. She was looking into the girl's eyes. Those brown eyes. Lily's eyes. "Tell me something else," Catherine said. Her voice cracked. "Tell me something only Lily would know." The girl took a shaky breath. "You used to read me a story every night. The same story. About a princess who got lost in the forest. But you never read the ending from the book. You always made up a different ending. A happy one. Because you said every little girl deserves a happy ending." A sob burst from Catherine's throat. That was true. All of it was true. She had never told anyone about changing the story's ending. "And there's more," the girl said. "You have a scar on your knee from when you fell off your bike when you were 9. And you hate strawberries because they make your tongue itch. And your favorite song is the one your mother used to sing, the one about the stars watching over us." Catherine couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They poured down her face. These weren't things you could find on the internet. These were private things, secret things, mother and daughter things. "Security," I said, "remove her," Richard commanded. "No," Catherine shouted. She moved between the girl and the guards. "Don't touch her." She turned back to the girl. This dirty, shaking, crying girl who knew impossible things. "Tell me what happened," Catherine said. "Tell me everything." Catherine led the girl away from the staring crowd. Richard followed close behind, his face twisted with anger. They went into Catherine's private study and closed the door. The sounds of the party faded away. The girl stood in the middle of the beautiful room, looking lost and small. Catherine couldn't stop staring at her. Every time she blinked, she expected the girl to disappear like a dream. "Sit down," Catherine said gently. She pointed to a soft chair. "Please, tell me everything." The girl sat down carefully, like she was afraid the chair might break. Or maybe she was afraid Catherine would change her mind and throw her out. "My name is Lily," the girl began. Her voice was quiet and scared. "At least, that's what I remember now. For a long time, I didn't remember anything." "This is insane," Richard muttered. He stood by the door with his arms crossed. "Catherine, you can't seriously believe this." "Let her talk," Catherine said without looking at him. She couldn't take her eyes off the girl. Lily took a deep breath. 7 years ago, I was in a car. I remember that now. Someone was driving me somewhere. I don't remember who. Everything was dark outside. Then suddenly there were bright lights. The car swerved. I heard screaming. Then nothing. Catherine's hand flew to her mouth. The night Lily disappeared, she had been with Richard's brother, Uncle Thomas. He was supposed to drive her home from a birthday party. But Thomas said someone ran them off the road near the river. He said Lily had unbuckled her seatbelt to reach for something. When the car crashed, she flew out the door, into the dark water. Thomas had searched and searched, but never found her. Thomas had cried at the funeral. He blamed himself. A year later, he moved away because the guilt was too much. When I woke up, Lily continued, I was on a riverbank far downstream, miles and miles away. My head hurt so badly. I was soaking wet and freezing. I tried to remember who I was, where I lived, anything, but it was all blank, like someone had erased my brain. Head injuries can cause memory loss, Catherine whispered. She had read about it during those awful months after Lily disappeared. She had read everything, hoping for a miracle. A homeless man found me, Lily said. His name was George. He was kind. He gave me his blanket. He shared his food. I lived on the streets with him and other homeless people. George tried to help me remember, but nothing worked. He took me to hospitals, but I had no identification. No one knew who I was. I was just another lost kid. Tears rolled down Lily's cheeks. George died 2 years ago. After that, I was alone. I moved from place to place, sleeping in doorways, begging for food. But something was always bothering me, like I had forgotten something important. Sometimes I would dream about a woman with kind eyes. She would sing to me about stars. Catherine's sob filled the room. She used to sing that song every single night. Then 3 months ago, I saw a newspaper, Lily said. Someone had thrown it away. On the front page was a picture of you, Mom. You were opening a new shelter for homeless children. The moment I saw your face, something in my brain clicked. I knew you. I knew you were important. The dreams got stronger. I started remembering little pieces. Your voice, your smile, the birthmark you used to kiss. How convenient, Richard said coldly. You see a rich woman in the paper and suddenly remember you're her dead daughter. Richard, please, Catherine begged. No, Catherine. Use your head. This girl is playing you. She probably heard about Lily from old news stories. She memorized facts. Now she's here for money. Lily shook her head hard. I don't want money. I want my mom. I want my home. I want my life back. Catherine moved closer to the girl. She reached out slowly, like Lily might disappear if she moved too fast. Her fingers touched Lily's hand. The girl's hand was rough and scarred from living on the streets. But it was warm, real. I want to believe you, Catherine whispered. You don't know how much I want to believe you. But I buried my daughter. Ikaya funeral. For 7 years, I've lived with the pain of losing her. I know, Lily said. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry I couldn't come home sooner. I didn't know how. I didn't remember. Catherine's mind was spinning. Everything the girl said could be true. Head injuries did cause memory loss. Bodies did wash downstream. The police had never found Lily's body, only her clothes. Maybe this impossible thing was real. But what if Richard was right? What if this was an elaborate trick? There's a simple solution, Richard said. He pulled out his phone. A DNA test. We can have results in a few days. If this girl is really Lily, the test will prove it. Catherine nodded slowly. Yes, a DNA test. Lily looked scared. Okay, I'll take the test. I'll prove I'm telling the truth. Fine, Richard said. He made a phone call to their family doctor. He'll come tomorrow morning to take samples. Until then, this girl is not staying in our house. Yes, she is, Catherine said firmly. If there's even a chance she's Lily, I'm not letting her go back to the streets. Richard's jaw clenched. Catherine, this is a mistake. She'll stay in the guest room, Catherine said. Tomorrow we'll do the test. Then we'll know for sure. That night, Catherine couldn't sleep. She kept walking past the guest room door. Finally, she opened it quietly. Lily was awake too, sitting by the window, looking at the stars. Can't sleep? Catherine asked. Lily shook her head. I'm afraid this is a dream, that I'll wake up back on the streets. Catherine sat down beside her. I'm afraid of that too. Afraid you're not real. They sat in silence for a while. Tell me more, Catherine said. Tell me about living on the streets. Lily talked for hours. About the cold winter nights. About the hunger that never went away. About the kind people who sometimes helped and the mean ones who kicked her. About missing something she couldn't remember. About the emptiness inside her heart. Catherine listened and cried. If this was her Lily, her baby had suffered so much. All alone, scared, hungry, while Catherine had been safe in this big house. I tried to find you, Catherine said. The police searched for months. We never gave up hope. I know, Lily said. I don't blame you. How could you know I was alive when I didn't even know who I was? As the sun started to rise, Catherine made a decision. DNA test or not, she was going to help this girl. Even if she wasn't really Lily, no child should live on the streets. But deep in her heart, Catherine was starting to believe. This girl knew too much, felt too familiar. Those eyes were Lily's eyes. The next morning, the doctor came. He took samples from Lily and Catherine. Results in 3 days, he said. 3 days of waiting. 3 days of hope and fear mixing together. Richard barely spoke to either of them. He locked himself in his office, making angry phone calls. On the 3rd day, the doctor called. The results are ready. I'm coming over. Catherine and Lily sat together on the couch, holding hands. Richard stood by the window, his back to them. The doctor arrived. He looked confused as he opened the envelope. "Well," Catherine asked. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her chest. The doctor read the paper. Then read it again. "According to this DNA test," he said slowly, "this girl is not your biological daughter." Catherine's world shattered. Again, the hope that had been building for 3 days crashed down like broken glass. Lily started crying. No, that's wrong. I know I'm your daughter. I know it." Richard turned around with a cold smile. "I told you, Catherine. She's a con artist." But then the doctor held up his hand. "Wait, there's something else. Something very strange. I ran the test 3 times to be sure. This girl shares DNA with someone in your family. Just not with you, Mrs. Williams." Everyone froze. "What do you mean?" Catherine asked. The doctor looked at Richard. "She shares DNA with you, Mr. Williams." The room went silent. Outside the window, a car pulled up. Catherine saw police officers getting out. And that's when everything started to make terrible, horrible sense. Richard's face went white. He backed toward the door. "What's going on?" Catherine demanded. "Richard, what did you do?" The police knocked on the door. Richard looked like a trapped animal. His eyes darted around the room, searching for escape. "Don't answer it," he said. His voice shook, but Catherine was already moving toward the door. Her mind was racing. The DNA test said Lily shared Richard's DNA, but not hers. That made no sense. "Unless you're not my real mom?" Lily asked. She looked confused and hurt. Catherine opened the door. 2 police officers stood there. Behind them was a woman Catherine had never seen before. The woman looked nervous. "Mrs. Williams?" The first officer said. "I am Detective Martinez. We need to speak with your husband." "Come in," Catherine said. Her voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. Richard tried to run. He bolted toward the back door, but the second officer was faster. He grabbed Richard's arm and pulled him back. "Richard Williams, you're under arrest," Detective Martinez said. "For what?" Richard shouted. "I haven't done anything." "For fraud, kidnapping, and attempted murder," the detective said. Catherine felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. "What?" The woman behind the officers stepped forward. She was crying. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry. I couldn't live with it anymore. I had to tell the truth." "Who are you?" Catherine asked. "My name is Margaret," the woman said. 7 years ago, Richard paid me $50,000 to do something terrible." The room started spinning. Catherine sat down before she fell down. Margaret's voice shook as she spoke. "Richard came to me with a plan. He said his wife was very rich. He said if his stepdaughter died, he would inherit everything, because Catherine would be too broken to care about money anymore. He would control the fortune." "Stepdaughter?" Catherine whispered. Then it hit her like a truck. "Lily wasn't my biological daughter?" "No," Margaret said. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm Lily's biological mother. 7 years ago, I was homeless and desperate. I had a baby girl that I couldn't take care of. Richard found me. He said he and his wife wanted to adopt Lily. He paid me money and I signed papers. I thought I was giving my baby a better life." Lily made a small sound like a wounded animal. Margaret looked at her. "You were so tiny, so beautiful. I held you one last time and gave you to Richard. He promised you would be loved and safe. I thought I was doing the right thing." "You were," Catherine said softly, even though her whole world was breaking apart. "I loved Lily from the first moment I saw her. Richard told me we were adopting her. I never knew she was his biological daughter. I never knew about you." "Because he lied to everyone," Margaret said. "A few months after the adoption, Richard came back to me. He had a new plan, a horrible plan. He said he needed Lily to die. Not really die, but everyone had to think she was dead. He said once Catherine believed Lily was gone, Catherine would be so sad that she wouldn't care about anything. Richard could control all the money. He could do whatever he wanted." Richard struggled against the handcuffs. "Lies. All lies," "We have proof," Detective Martinez said. He held up a folder. "Bank records showing the payments. Text messages between you and Margaret. And testimony from your brother, Thomas." Catherine's head snapped up. "Thomas? Uncle Thomas." "Thomas was part of it," the detective said. "He staged the car accident. He threw Lily's clothes in the river. But he didn't know Richard's full plan. Thomas thought they were just going to hide Lily for a few weeks, then find her and be heroes. He didn't know Richard paid someone else to make sure Lily disappeared forever." Margaret sobbed. "Richard paid another man to take Lily far away and leave her somewhere she'd never be found. Somewhere she'd die from exposure or starvation. Just a little girl, all alone. When I found out, I wanted to stop it, but Richard threatened me. He said if I talked, I'd go to jail too, so I stayed quiet. For 7 years, I stayed quiet, thinking about my baby girl out there somewhere, dead because of my choices. But I didn't die," Lily said. Her voice was small but strong. "George found me. He saved me." "Thank God for George," Margaret whispered. Catherine stood up. She walked over to Richard, her husband, the man she had trusted, the man she had cried with at Lily's funeral. He had held her while she sobbed. He had planned the whole thing. "You let me suffer," Catherine said. Her voice was cold as ice. "You watched me fall apart. You held me while I cried for a daughter you had thrown away like garbage. All for money." "You don't understand," Richard said. "Your father left you millions. You were going to waste it all on charity. Someone had to be smart about it." Catherine slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed through the room. "That little girl loved you," Catherine said. "She called you Daddy. And you tried to kill her." The officers took Richard away. He was still shouting, still making excuses. Catherine didn't listen. She turned to Lily and Margaret, mother and daughter, biological mother and biological daughter, both strangers, both family. "I don't understand," Lily said. "If Margaret is my real mom, then who are you?" Catherine knelt down in front of Lily. She took the girl's scarred, rough hands in her own. "Biology doesn't make a mother," Catherine said. "Love makes a mother. I held you when you were scared. I sang to you every night. I read you stories and kissed your birthmark and promised to keep you safe. I failed at that last part, but I never stopped being your mother, not for one single day." Lily threw her arms around Catherine. They held each other and cried. Margaret watched them. "I thought I was doing the right thing," she said again, "giving her to a rich family. But I gave her to a monster." "You gave her to me too," Catherine said. She reached out and took Margaret's hand. "You gave me the greatest gift of my life. Thank you." The three of them stood together. A family built not from DNA, but from love and loss and survival. Over the next weeks, the whole story came out. Thomas confessed everything. He had felt guilty for 7 years, but had been too scared to speak. The man Richard paid to get rid of Lily was found and arrested. He admitted he had dumped Lily by the river, thinking she would die. He never checked. He just took Richard's money and left. Richard went to jail for a very long time. Catherine divorced him and made sure he would never see a penny of her money. Margaret started therapy to deal with her guilt. Catherine helped her get a job and an apartment. Slowly, Margaret and Lily started building a relationship. It was awkward and strange, but it was real. Lily moved back into her old room. Catherine bought her new clothes and enrolled her in school. But the most important thing was simpler. Every night, Catherine tucked Lily into bed, kissed her birthmark, and sang the song about stars. "You're my lucky star," Catherine would say. "And you're my mom," Lily would answer. 1 year later, Catherine stood in the same ballroom where Lily had first appeared. Another charity gala. But this time, Lily stood beside her. Clean, healthy, happy. Lily was helping Catherine raise money for homeless children. "I was one of those kids," Lily told the crowd. "I lived on the streets. I was cold and hungry and alone. But someone showed me kindness. Someone gave me hope. That's what we're doing tonight. We're giving hope." The crowd clapped. Catherine's eyes filled with tears. Happy tears this time. After the party, they went home together. Margaret came too. She had dinner with them every Sunday now. As they sat around a table, laughing and talking, Catherine thought about everything that had happened. The loss, the pain, the impossible reunion, the shocking truth. Richard had tried to destroy them for money, but instead, he had given them something he could never understand. He had shown them that real family isn't about blood or DNA or legal papers. Real family is about love, about showing up, about holding on even when everything falls apart. Catherine looked at Lily and saw her daughter, not her biological daughter, just her daughter, the girl she raised, the girl she lost, the girl who came home. And Lily looked back with those warm brown eyes and smiled. "Love you, Mum," Lily said. "Love you too, Lucky Star," Catherine answered. Some stories don't have happy endings, but this one did. Because sometimes, even after the worst has happened, love finds a way. Love survives. Love brings people home. And that's the most shocking truth of all.